Hey everyone, Sly47 here, and as you can see, I've got Pigbay with me. How you doing, Pigbay? Yeah,
I'm
you.
all right.
You all
This
right?
guy?
Go. It's good. It's
I'm
good.
all right. Just
So
hanging out.
I know. Hey, this is gonna be a fun podcast, and we are talking, of course, about all tier 10s right here. We have all of them with us. It's gonna be a blast, but first, let's quickly go through rankings. Top and meta, these are ships that are in perfect mint condition, great for just about everything, and they handle almost everything from competitive to random battles. They're just great. They're in great condition. Competitive, these are ships that are also in a very good position, but they have like an issue. But they're slight, they're small. I really do believe they're still in a good position. Good right here. These are ships that have just about everything to be good, but they're missing something. You can clearly tell it in comparison to the other ships. Well, then you got playable. These are ships that just, sure, if you want them, if they're your playstyle, you might enjoy them. Other than that, no, they need a little bit of help, but not as much as other categories. Niche, these are ships that play the gambit depending on your team, depending on how you play, all the other sorts, but in general, they still need a little bit of help, but they have that niche that they obviously aren't in the final category, which is needs love. These are ships that almost everyone knows what's in them, anyways, what's in this category. So these are ships, don't grind them right now. They are just in piss poor condition. I think I articulated that well, right, Pigbay?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Pretty much.
that was pretty good.
Awesome. Perfect. So first up, we have the Alexander Nevsky. Pigbay, what's your thoughts on it?
From what I don't own it. Haven't grinded it out yet. Still need to work on that. From what I heard, it's good where it's at, especially after some of the buffs that it received. But I don't think it's quite there yet. I think it's just that good. That's kind of my thoughts there. I know you actually own it and you've played it, so what do you think?
So I would actually argue that it's within the competitive or the top meta. I think it barely breaks into that top meta. The only problem that it has is that mobility, because it's got the range, it's got HE that's really good, it's got AP that's really good, it's got all the different settings for it. It really is a all-around amazing flamethrower at tier 10, but then it's got that devastating AP as well. So, like, I see the good, though. Like, it's one of those things I think we might just want to, like, I don't know, would you agree with competitive? Because really, it doesn't have that many flaws.
It's pretty like I said, I haven't played it. So my other thing that I'm basing this off of too is what I see when I play tier 10. I don't really see a lot of Alexander Nevsky's getting picked up. Does that have radar? I can't remember.
It has one radar.
Okay, one radar. I mean, that's better.
Yeah,
some of the other ships there, but it could be competitive. Again, okay. I don't have much experience with it, so.
Yeah, so when you have it in a good player's hands, or at least a player that understands it needs to play at range, it's incredibly competitive. If you try to knife fight with it, it's not very maneuverable, so you're gonna die. So these are definitely ranged fighters, but they have the accuracy to back that up, where you can land your AP. It's not Stalingrad level or Moskva level, but you basically can land your AP wherever you want on a ship, and that's just good enough. So even if you're not wanting to start fires, you pretty much can do it. So depending on the person, of course, you're going to kind of juggle between that. But I'd generally say in good players' hands, it's top or meta. But for average player, probably more competitive to good. So, taking in your side. Now, we actually have a new ship here, Pigbay, with the Blk Shimkaze. It is a Shimkaze class, first and foremost.
So...
It's not released yet. It's an FYI. Like, we know barely anything about this.
Yeah, I don't know what skills it's gonna have. Yeah. But just the fact that I'm assuming it has the same amount of torps, same amount of damage those torps are gonna have.
Probably.
I'm gonna say honestly good, because it's a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
But it's good at that one trick that it does. Not my favorite to play. I know a lot of people like them, but yeah, it's just, it doesn't bring utility, in my opinion, and has slow reloading torps. So
yeah, I think that's basically going to be the exact same thing with the general Shimkaze. It's just such a good at that one trick pony that it sits in good, And even a really good player, of course, will bring out the best in it. But the problem is it's lacking in so many other departments that it holds itself from being top or meta or competitive because it just doesn't quite. When it doesn't have those torps, it's really lackluster. So even if they add, God forbid, torpedo reload 1 or something on it or something, it's still you just don't. I don't know.
Yeah, the only thing if they give it like a radar or something ridiculous, then then you got some utility. So, but it all depends on what it's gonna have. But in my mind, knowing what I know about the Shimkaze, it's gonna be in good.
Yeah, definitely. But Blk Yamato. I think this kind of came down and kind of splashed in, kind of just as a sister ship to the Yamato. Would you say, kind of just like side grade?
Yeah, it does have a really nice looking camo though.
Okay, so
what is it called?
Camo makes it top tier meta. I get it.
Yes, bro. There's like gold flake coming off of it. It looks really good.
It is cool. It is cool.
It looks really good, but it does have the spotter plane. It doesn't have the precise aim, so it's not as accurate as Yamato. But that spotter plane can be quite useful. It's like a poor man's radar a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And adds more range.
And add in Yamato's already pretty deadly accurate. That precise aim is really just overkill at long range to make sure that everything hits. Without it, it's still hitting at least over half its shells on target, which at max range for Yamato is, 14, 15 kilometers, right? Something like that. It's long.
It's like
isn't it?
16, I think.
Yeah, it's even higher than that. I'm obviously not a battleship player much. So I would definitely say at very least, Yamato, it's more competitive. I do believe the regular Yamato is a little bit better just because of that precise aim. You're able to hit more targets. It's a sister ship, and also you don't have to grind for it. You just have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But
you could say, is that better than getting a free one?
Yeah, no, I don't know. But we'll find out. Bourgogne. Do you have the ship?
I have it on the press account, and honestly, I do like the Bourgogne. The Bourgogne?
Bourgogne. I know I'm actually saying this one correctly.
I don't know.
For once.
All right. But I do like it. I think it's really good. Even though it has 381s, I would definitely put it in competitive. It's a lot of fun. I wish I had got it on the main account when I had it, there was a chance, but I did not. So hopefully, one day in the shipyard, I'll be keeping my eyes peeled.
Oh, yeah,
but
definitely.
Yeah, I'm definitely competitive.
So I would agree on competitive. The armor is what really stops it. It is this more light battleship, but it's similar to that of the Christfofo Colombo. Just it has so many guns. Even though they're smaller, that just does a lot of damage to targets. And you got rapid reload on top of that. You got the speed to it. So it's a incredibly powerful ship. It definitely is. It lives it perfectly in competitive. But anything else to say? No. Buffalo. Where are you thinking on this one?
I'm thinking Buffalo between good and playable, honestly. What I like the Buffalo, it does have a lot of firepower. You got the Moines guns plus 3 extra.
Yep.
So really good, especially with I think when it first came out, it had rapid reload 1, but then they ended up buffing it to 2, right?
Yep.
So definitely spits out damage. The only thing that I would say is that it has no utility. And we've talked about it before. We really want this thing to have sonar. I think sonar would be chef's kiss.
Yep.
Little smoochy smooth for the chef, That's what I think it's missing. But if I had to put it between playable and good, I'm going to say playable.
Playable. Here, I'm going to disagree with you on that. I'm going to mostly say good.
You're going to say good?
Yes, because it is a lot of damage. It's a great fire starter because now you have even more fire starting ability to the Des Moines. Its maneuverability allows you to still hunt DDs, and its firepower allows you to annihilate them, especially since it was given rapid reload too. Now, of course, I would argue once it's given sonar, yes, it's in competitive, but it's definitely in a good shape. It's just not in a great shape.
Yeah.
Like
how many charges of sonar do you think it should have?
Actually, I only think 1, because you already have AA on it, so you're already going to get it from that first skill. for a commander.
It'll
You're
give
now
you
going to have
charges.
2, and I think that's perfect. I think, especially when sonar is more, it's not as utilized as people. I feel like people say it is.
It's more defensive.
Yeah. It's defensive, or you're pushing in specifically on DDs in smoke so you can spot them and root them out, basically. So it's definitely, the Buffalo really needs that sonar, but overall, I think it's in a good shape just because you do have that much firepower and you burn stuff down. I think I averaged like 50, 60 in this, and I know players that average 70, 80 in it that are much better players than me, and it's a solid ship, but it is, of course, losing that utility that the Des Moines has. And Des Moines only has 1 less gun, but it does have rapid reload 3, much better AA, so, but then again, I think Buffalo has longer range from remembering too.
I think it's like very negligible.
But at the same time,
it's like point something.
Oh, it is? Okay, I'll have to think about it. But to me, it's just that extra gun helps so much. So, especially with rapid reload 3, but to a DD that's not a DD, the Colbert. What do you think of Big Bay?
I'm thinking niche. Because this thing has no armor. It's pretty huge, but its niche thing that I'm going to say it's really good at is fucking wiping DDs out with AP. That is fun. But again, that's very, very small. It's a small niche. It has quick firing guns, but your fire chance isn't really, the best.
No, it's not. In my opinion, especially with niche, is that I think it really depends on the player. I'm going to agree with you on niche, but I will say for people who know how to play DDs and know how to play gunboat DDs specifically, the Colbert easily ranks up in good. Because you have that HE, and as much as that fire chance is low, and yes, you only get like 4 or 5 fires with like 400 hits, you can still, with the accuracy of it, land a crap ton of AP shells on superstructures. If this was just me, I'd put it in good. But with the, once again, with the idea that you have to be a good player that knows how to do it, especially since, at max range, Vermont can shoot, and you could be dead stop, hit your engine accelerator, and move forward and dodge the entire salvo. Yeah. This thing is stupidly nimble, but it requires a lot of playstyles. But I'm not, I don't know, with niche, it's depending on how you view niche. To me, niche is definitely one of those ships that it's just a particular playstyle. But then overall, in a good player, it's a good ship. So, I don't know. Anything else you want to add on the Colbert? Nope. Conqueror. You want me to take this, or you take it?
You take it, because I haven't really played Conqueror.
So, in my opinion, the Conqueror is playable. But if you know that you don't just shoot HE out of these things, it's good.
Also, if you have one of the legendary commanders that add the heal. So I think we have 2 of them, right? We have
Nelson,
Horatio, Nelson, and then
Jellicoe. Isn't Jellicoe? Because Jellicoe also gives it to the cruisers.
No, that's BD. BD has the extra heal.
Oh, BD has extra heal? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which, I mean, if you forgo, you can put BD on there because it does have armor piercing cap shell plus, which will help out, and the heal. You just got to forego that smoke, which doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, no, the Conqueror, it really is in between these. It's just, do you have the legendary commander and like that, and also do you shoot anything other than HE? Because if you do, then the Conqueror it's definitely a good ship. It definitely needs that 4th heal, or it needs a special heal. Come on, Wargaming.
Yeah. Or I mean, even if you're shooting HE, if you're platooning with fire starting ships, then you guys can synergize very well. Holland with your freaking torpedoes getting floods almost every time, and then Smolensk, of course, any carrier.
Oh yeah, Malta.
Exactly. Let's talk about that.
I don't really think we need to say anything because Conqueror is just good. It's a good all-rounder. Even with the HE, you'll still do good, but it definitely feels more playable when you, of course, go against other battleships. So, yeah. Daring. I'm gonna let you take this.
Uh,
DD.
I would say competitive, but top if there's no carrier.
So
So it has a lot of utility. Some of the best, quick firing guns. Torps don't reload that bad. You can single fire the torps, but I normally just spread them out anyway, so who cares? But the problem is, especially with playing DD at tier 10, if you're not Holland, you're not stopping any carrier. And the carrier, even if he doesn't attack you, is going to keep you spotted all the time. And then other people are going to shoot at you, especially if you're against like good players. Yeah, I've been struggling lately with DD because of this. There's a carrier meta going around, and I don't like it.
yeah, definitely.
Don't like it. So, but still, great ship, very competitive ship. Without a carrier, I would say it's top.
So I would actually say, even with a carrier, it's top. Because just everything it brings to the table, it's almost similar to like Worcester, is it brings so much to the table that it is clearly better than most other DDs on this list. And add on top of it that even in a carrier game, and you have to be running up against good carriers. There's so many other contentions to that. Do you have more AA ships on there that you can work with? But the nimbleness, you can dodge so many torps with this thing because it just turns on a dime. And then let alone its guns are actually incredibly solid going after other DDs. You just got a lot going for you. I think it's just overall incredibly good, especially even if we are in a carrier meta. I think that even when we exit the carrier meta, the Daring's still just going to move. It's just going to solidify its top meta position.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm probably not going to put a lot of DDs in top or meta just because I've been having a rough go at it lately.
Yeah.
Carriers is just one of those classes, man. But I can definitely agree. Competitive, and then top and meta when there is no carrier. That is my standing. I'll let you put it where you want.
I'm going to put it in top just because it really is just the king of DDs in terms of damage, especially if you can land all those torps in one line, which if you are a good player, you can obviously just predict where someone's going to, hey, I'm going to slow down. Well, then they slow down right into those torps. It's just devastating, and it just brings so much to it, and that's... I think I'm going to agree with you. I don't think there is another DD in the topper meta area, and it's just because that nimbleness. You're able, like, even if the carrier is bombing you and everything like that, those torpedo bombers are probably going to miss most. They're not going to hit you because you're just that nimble. Now, of course, with a very good CC, or CV player, they're still going to hit, but that's just good CV players. You're just screwed anyways in any other ship that you bring. Anyways, so you could have a Worcester completely AA maxed out. Doesn't matter with those good CV players. So, now to a ship, Des Moines. Pigbait, have you played this much? Do you want it?
I have. Yeah, I do. I would say good, borderline competitive because of the utility. So obviously the AA is not as good as Worcester, but it's still very respectable. Like. Yeah. Especially if you match it up with other ships, say you want to like kind of defend your Montana from getting struck all the time. Both of your combined A probably will stop those attacks. Not only that, damage output's really good. It has rapid reload 3 or 2? I can't remember off the top.
Yeah, 3. Yeah.
So yeah, this thing does spit out damage, especially if you got AP loaded and you're firing at other cruisers, Smolensk, you're gonna be getting citadels. Say you're shooting at battleships at range. Go ahead and start lighting fires. So, you have radar as well. If you got the special captain, you got 2 charges of radar.
Kincaid, yep.
There's a lot of utility.
There is a lot of utility, but I'm gonna say I would agree with barely good. I'd probably more put it in playable just because of the range. Because I do believe we are having to start, because of the carriers, we're starting to have more of a range meta. People are wanting to stay back, bunch up. And I feel like I've been seeing more flanker, like groups of people flanking and everything like that, that while the Des Moines is the ultimate capped defender and like that, it barely ekes into good for me. just because there's so many ships that can outrange it. And yeah, its guns are devastating, but those arcs will kill it at range. It's just, let alone a Smolensk will kill it even at range. It really needs a little bit of love, but it's still, like, depending on what you're running into, it's still in a good shape. I enjoy it. So, now to our newest one, Elbing. I know you're grinding it. Are you to it yet?
No, I'm not even. I'm still on tier 8, which is the goose stuff. But I have played it. Okay. I think playable niche. I'd say more playable.
Really?
The thing is, you got to play this at range, especially with that AP. You can do some devastating damage to DDs, but the keyword is at range. But not only that, you can do damage to a bunch of cruisers, battleship noses, and sterns and superstructures. So, yeah, if you play it at range the way it's supposed to be played, a lot better. The torps, they have long range. They're just slow. Use them as zoning torps.
Yeah.
But again, playable, borderline niche is my opinion.
So I'd go playable, borderline needs love.
Okay.
Because in my opinion, I think those torps need to be a little faster. just a tad. Okay, they are.
Yep. You'd be surprised how many times I've hit torps, just because people decide to turn back in. They're like, oh, torps aren't coming, and then all of a sudden they have these mines coming at them at like 3 knots.
Yeah. But I've played the Elbing, and when you do play it the way you said it, if you can really adhere to that, it's pretty good. But don't let DDs get too close to you, because now you'll start overpenning them with your AP, because APCS does that to you. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't run armor piercing capsule on it, just because I want to use my AP at a little bit closer distance against the DDs.
Yeah, but it definitely needs a good bit. Not as much as other ships in the need love category, but it's barely eking out of there, just because it does have actually really good guns. So I completely agree with you on that one. So I don't know about niche, just because it's just like, I think its guns kind of just work as a traditional gunboat and like that, and the torpedoes are more spammy, area of denial, as you said.
Yeah.
So it does work, but it definitely needs a lot of work. But gearing, do you have this? I believe you do, don't you?
Yeah, gearing I would say is like I do. Is an all-arounder. I would say good. It's not bad, especially if you're running the legendary mod. You do lose a little. What was it? I can't remember off the top of my head, but you gain with the legendary mod. You gain range on your torpedoes and torpedo speed.
Yep.
And you only lose like a little bit. I think it's like reload or something. I can't remember. But I think it's
reload.
Yeah. So it's not that bad. It makes it very competitive, and you have great guns, so you can definitely knife fight other DDs. It's very maneuverable, and long-lasting smokes.
Oh yeah. So I completely agree with good. It's really the standard do-it-all DD. It does everything, and I think that's a perfect position for it. I think the legendary module is better for it than running a reload mod, because I just don't feel like the guns work as well, especially now with the Grozovoi in the game now being, in my opinion, its Russian cousin. That is, of course, it just works well as just being that gunboat. So I think that's definitely good. Not to spoil anything now, but gearing definitely is in a very good position. I think realistically, to make it competitive, and I've said this all the time, it needs it's actually I don't know if you'll understand this reference, but the Axton buff that happened in Borderlands 2, where basically it was just a plus 3% on every single stat. It just needs a little bit better on everything, like minor small things, but you're only going to feel it overall. So a little faster reload, little faster turning, little faster speed, little like this. I think it just needs that bump, boom, right into competitive.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Okay. Maybe you give it something to give it a little more utility, but
that's true. Maybe make it the first tech tree 4-skill ship. I thought the Elbing was actually going to be the one that would actually have 4 skills on it to make up for it just having crappy torpedoes, but that didn't actually end up happening. Let's talk about the Grosser Kurfurst. It just recently got changed. Don't have it. Have you played on your press account?
No, because remember, my press account doesn't have a lot of resources on there right now. So
man, I'm sorry.
I can't get these tech tree ships.
Oh,
It's more of an early access account, really.
yeah. I'm sorry about that. But Kurfurst, I think it's good. It's just good. Its change up really made it more of a mid-range fighter rather than the brawler that it used to be. So now it's definitely, you stay at longer ranges, and then if someone happens to get into your area, yeah, you got decent secondaries. They'll do something to it, but overall, I think the Kurfurst just sits in good. I think it definitely needs to kind of get changed up to a little bit more range, or a little bit better at that more longer range fighting, because of course we do have the shorter range battlecruiser style German battleships coming in. So
honestly, what I would like to see is just kind of like a secondary rework, you know what I mean? Because in my opinion, they just miss way too often, like to be reliable. Like those auto secondaries, they need to change something, because it's hard for them to engage like a target that's not like a battleship.
Yeah,
that's moving away from you or moving towards you.
Yeah,
it struggles so with those things. So yeah, there needs to be a change up. Hopefully, when these new German battle cruisers come out, because they're on PC, they're known for their secondaries, but not all the time. There's not a lot of time that PC translates well to Blitz.
No, and I really wish that even if they come in and they've got actually pretty decent secondaries, I think the Kurfurst should also have amazing secondaries. German ships should really be those ships you do not get close in anything. You have to stay at range. Once they get you in their range, it basically should be all hell let loose on you, and it should be a horrifying experience right back to port. But overall, it's just one of those things that they're just not scary enough. They're not.
No.
When a DD can still go up and YOLO torpedo you, that's the problem. I'm like, that's not how that should be.
What I think secondary should be is what Napoli was when we got first released to us. Oh, that was so good.
Oh God, I wish people would have been to experience that. That was beautiful. Nothing could get within, what was it, 6 kilometers.
Yeah, no DD could ever approach you. It was the best.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Yep. And that's how they should feel, is they should be incredibly scary when they're close up, but it's like, hey, make Kurfurst the longer range engagement, then make the new battlecruisers that 11 kilometers, stay within a little closer, and you actually have to do it more Palmerin or Prussian type. But the Kurfurst needs some buffs. It is still pretty good, but it's just nothing close to other ships. Yeah. Now to our first lovely one, Goliath.
Oh, that's definitely top and competitive, whatever. Now.
If Alistair is playing it.
Yeah, it depends. I don't own it. I don't plan on owning it until some major changes happen to it. So I'm gonna put it at needs love. It keeps getting buffed, but the buffs aren't enough. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Oh man.
It needs love.
Oh,
it needs a whole lot of love.
It needs a lot. If you have Jellicoe, it's playable. Just because it can increase your health so you can survive long enough to do something in the battle. But yeah, no, needs love, definitely. It is not, it's not great. It needs a lot, and when you need to have a legendary commander, that's actually kind of rarer to get, because of course you can get Kincaid, Hipper, and so many different bundles and other things. It's just one of those things that it needs a lot of range, and it needs a few other buffs into it too. I want it to be more of that pocket battleship. Not this smoky, like we already have the sneaky side. Let's make the all hell let loose, you're on fire. Also, by the way, the AP is strong, the armor is strong, like everything like that. It just doesn't work. So
yeah.
But anything else?
No. I was gonna just say that, like on PC, that is good. The Goliath line is good on there, but there's different mechanics. You know what I mean? Like arm angling and stuff like that over there. We don't have here, so.
And HE no pen, and let that note not doing damage. We always get it to do damage here, so yep. Golden Lion or Gouden Leeuw?
I'm gonna call it Golden Lion.
Okay.
I would say kind of between playable and niche. It's one niche is that it has airstrikes, right?
Yep.
Greatly powerful.
Oh yeah.
You can spot DDs with it. You can't spam it as you can the 7 province, but again, you could still spot DDs. But the problem is the range. especially if you're on like Golden Channel, you can't sit at one end of the cap and bomb the other side. You just don't have the range for it.
Yeah.
So in situations like that, all you can really rely on is the guns, and the guns aren't bad. Guns, I tend to fire armor piercing a lot with them.
Yeah.
But they're pretty good. But would put it playable, I guess. Yeah.
So I'm going to argue niche because of those range issues. We already have the range issues in the Goliath, but also let's add in the ability to not defend yourself against DDs.
Yeah.
The Golden Lion, you cannot defend yourself at all. Its HE sucks. Its AP is really good. You can Citadel battleships, you can handle all that stuff, but the moment a Shimkaze decides you're going to die, that sucker's going to leave with over half their health, and you're going to feel like you've done nothing to it. You can't stop it.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, yes, you still have those airstrikes, but the range issues, they need to buff the range on this thing, on that. And then I guess there are secondary batteries on it, so I think it would make sense just to activate those. Just make those work, and now I think it would go right into good. Because now you have enough range to bomb across, Golden Channel or Cage, I should say, Cage with those. You should be the ultimate, hey, I'm going to stop the bullcrap of center control Cage. This should be the Golden Lion's, peak strength. And it just doesn't do it. So it's borderline needs love, but its niche is good because when you hit all those bombs on a battleship, that can drop 13, 14k worth of damage on it, and that is insane. So I would definitely, I think he definitely sits well in niche. So great call on that.
And you can definitely make like a comp with it. You know what I mean? A fire starting comp. Again, the usual suspects: Conqueror, Smolensk, Halland, any carrier except for Richthofen or whatever.
Yeah, Richthofen. Yeah. Now, actually, this recently got a buff, and I'd love to know your opinions on this. The Grozovoi.
I haven't played Grozovoi yet. I'm still on Udaloy, but I love the Udaloy. But I haven't played it, so I've just heard things. I've heard that it's pretty solid all around boat now.
Yeah.
So if I had to put it without knowing much about it, I'd say good.
Yeah. So just like earlier, it's now the Gearing's cousin, just gun focused instead of torp focused. The torps just spread so far, so they tend to be kind of that mixture of a Gearing's where at the end of it, it's a nice spread out. So literally, of course, if you're hitting a Kearsarge at max range broadside, you're going to hit all of your torpedoes. But with the Grozovoi, it's just so huge. With the Grozovoi, you've got about that, but a little wider, so you might miss one or two. But still, they're good torpedoes. It's a good gunboat. The AP's insane. The HE's insane. It's accurate at all get out. And plus, once again, you got those Russian ballistics. I would just say, realistically, if you're more, torp focused, Gearing. If you're more gun focused, Grozovoi. They're now in both really good shape.
Yep.
It's just Gearing's much better at knife fight and stay at range with Grozovoi. don't knife fight. I've learned the failures, but if it's a great line too. Granted, you're at Udaloy. I love it. You love it. It's just an amazing solid ship. So just think about it as just a skills upgrade and a general upgrade. It's almost a side grade if you want to say up to tier 10, but at the same time it's now worthy. At least it was horrible before this with this recent update. So out of the Russian DDs, especially because you got that Khaba line, I personally like the Grozovoi line a lot more. Yeah, no, it's definitely in better shape, and as much as I love the Kiev, I can also say it's not in good shape either. But yep. So now we have carriers. We got our first one, the Hakuryu. What is your opinion on this, Big Bay?
Ooh, all right. So this is the thing. I say it's top tier meta, but it has to be in the hands of someone that knows what they're doing. If you can hit those torps, this thing beats out every other carrier. I don't care who it is. It is, even to this day, I will say top tier. But a majority of the players, can't really hit the torps, especially after, I don't know if you remember, they changed the recall button so that, basically you would recall and then drop your torps again. It would use full speed to, turn, and you'd be able to get these nice quick drops. Can't really do that now. So a lot of people haven't been playing it because of that, but it's still nasty. It's still very nasty.
I think just because of the amount of squadrons you get and the amount of bull crap you can do with those squadrons, I'd go top.
The thing is, you have to be really good, because it's a lot to manage. It's a lot of, you got to manage 2 fighters, you got to manage 2
2 dive bombers and 3.
But it's 2 torpedo bombers.
Okay, 2. And then I thought it was 3 dive bombers, or is it 3 torp bombers?
No,
I can't even remember. I don't even play it.
It's 2 fighters, 2 dive bombers, and then 2 torpedo bombers.
Oh, I thought it was 3 of something, but never mind. That's me.
No,
that's me not knowing carriers. Surprise, surprise.
That's Richthofen. Richthofen has
3 dive bombers. Yeah, 3 dive bombers. Yeah. No, the Hakuryu just of course carriers play the entire gambit on this, depending on the player behind it. But if you're even half decent, the Hakuryu is going to be insane. You can just destroy the team. It's insane, and let alone deplaning it. Good luck. It's got so much in reserve that I've even had a Worcester game where I've taken 48 planes on it, and the sucker still killed me. Like, it's just it has way too much. So the Hakuryu is an incredibly strong ship, especially in good hands. Plus the legendary mod I actually heard was actually pretty good from the last tier maker that I did, or one of the last ones that I did. So yeah, I'd agree. But once again, player's gonna make it where it stands. So now Holland. This one will actually be kind of interesting. I want to see exactly your thoughts on it, because we have some passionate people in this community that talk about Holland.
So Holland isn't my favorite. I only play it for its AA when I see that there's a bunch of carriers queuing up. So I'm gonna say between good and competitive. I mean, it also depends on what you're fighting too.
Yeah.
It could work really well in a comp, as I've stated before, because you get those floods, the guns, you can get fires going. It does have radar, so there's utility. There's no smoke, so you can't really disengage very well. Speed's not the greatest. It's a little on the slow side. Maneuverability, I think it's all right. Not the best, not the worst.
It's a light cruiser, pretty much. It doesn't have that maneuverability.
Top tier AA for a DD. Like, if you play DD and like playing DD, but take carriers at tier 10, this is the DD that you play. So I think final answer, good. That's what I'm leaving it. Yeah, so because you got to remember too, it has the armor. It can arm battleship shells pretty easily. Like, I've been just smacked around like a schoolgirl by Vermont. So, it's just one of those things you got to worry about.
Oh yeah. So I'd say borderline competitive, and it mostly depends on the player. I'm gonna agree with good, just because of it is a very powerful. If you can get if you want to get Witherers, this is the ship line for you to get. It's incredibly fun to play because you are not just playing the game, you are also playing a numbers game of, okay, who's on cooldown, who's not, who do I need to be firing my guns at, who do I need to be sending my torps off at, because it just has everything going on for it. But you have to also be able to handle those low damage torpedoes. You have to manage cooldowns. You have to manage a carriers that, of course, will still get through your AA. It's powerful, but it's not Worcester level, but it is definitely at least usable AA on a DD, which is saying something. But overall, it's barely into competitive, depending on, especially if you have Jersey Swirsky. If you got Swirsky, it's competitive, definitely. But in general, player hands, I think good's about right. It's, once again, that armor will get you killed a lot, but if you can play this right and play the the Witherer game, you can rack up 80-90k by 4 or 5 minutes in, and just watches the enemies just like, I'm on fire 3 times and flooding. Why did I use it on one fire? It's a fun ship line. Yeah, and I know some people play it incredibly well, so I think it definitely sits in the good category. It definitely, I almost want to say almost like 5 seconds off its torpedo reload, and I think it would be really good on the damage area. And then just bump its AA by double, and it'll be perfect.
Yeah. Give everything good AA.
Everything good AA, like a 30% buff.
It's a solid support ship,
Yeah. It does just about everything. So, now, Harugumo actually got a recent buff for the range, but what is your thoughts, Big Bay?
So I'm currently at Kitakaze, slowly working it.
Yep.
Harugumo, I would say hovers between good and playable, honestly. I would say more playable.
I'm gonna push you down to playable on this one, but if you want to keep on,
Yeah.
or I can explain it too. Like,
so it's a big destroyer. Doesn't maneuver that well. You got one rack of torps, but you got a torp reload, and the torps do hit hard. So it's not like it's the Holland where people don't really worry too much about your torps.
oh yeah,
These are torps that will kill you. The gun's amazing. Fire starter through and through. My thing is, I wish this thing had better A. I really do.
It doesn't make sense that it has such bad AA either, because they're dual purpose guns, and we have dual purpose guns on other things that have insane AA. So why is this the exception? But I think it's just the death by 1,000 cuts doesn't work incredibly well in Blitz. It's kind of almost the opposite of the Elbing, where the Elbing, you've got that awesome AP, you can just chunk at times.
Yeah, this has alpha.
You half the time you're trying to shoot, and this is actually something that I wish Blitz would take from another game, is that you should be able to press the fire button and move your aim while you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And if that was so, the Harugumo would be a lot better, because you need the shell arcs are orbital almost, so you have to keep on adjusting it. But if you've got a BB sitting in the back and you're just sitting in your smoke, you can just rack up 400 hits on that BB quick nature. It is a fun ship, but it's just once again, I think the maneuverability and yeah, it's got torps, but those guns just really rip it apart, unfortunately. So playable, I'd agree with that. Yeah. Anything else for Harugumo?
No, I think we pretty much mentioned everything.
All right. Now let's talk about its hybrid ship, the Hayate. I don't have much experience with this, so Pig Bay, do you?
I enjoy the Hayate. I do like it. I think it's a perfect blend of the torps and guns. So the guns are bigger, obviously, than the Harugumo, but they do reload quicker than the Shimkaze. Same guns. The AP and the HE still do really good damage. It's not like Shimkaze has bad guns. It's just that it has a very slow reload.
Yeah.
Has 2 launchers of 5, but you get a what's it called? Torp reload.
Yeah, torp reload.
So you could be a Shimkaze every now and then, especially if you're running that legendary captain.
Oh yeah.
Has smoke. I would say, I would leave it at good. I think it's just solid. I wouldn't put it in competitive just because, that torp reload is on the long side, but at least you have the guns to back it up too. So I would just leave it at good. I think that's pretty solid there.
Yeah, for good, I'd definitely say that it's borderline competitive, just because it depends on the player, it depends on how you do it. But those torpedoes just hit like hard, hit just they're strong. And I've been killed plenty of times by Hayates, so I hate this ship. But yeah, the guns are much better than the Shimkaze, and that kind of fixes its one-trick pony nature. But now it has the one-trick pony occasionally, and that kind of just makes it clearly a better pick. But yeah, it of course doesn't always have that one-trick pony. Anything else on that day?
No.
Yeah, no, pretty simple, right? Henri the Fourth, cruiser. I am actually going to go straight to good. And it's just because you have the rapid reload, acceleration. It's a great ambusher. It does have horrible armor. But if you play it right, you sneak around the battlefield and you stay alive for a while. And, I will say, if you do have a carrier, it's playable. If you do have a carrier, it's playable because, of course, you can't do it. But it actually has pretty good HE. So even if it is spotted, it can still put out a lot of damage. But when you find a target by itself, the torpedoes, the guns, just everything, you'll rack up 50,000 damage in, easily 30-40 seconds. You do it quick. But with your smile, I'm wondering what your thoughts are, Big Bay, on this one.
So I don't have it on the main account, but I did grab it on the press account. I did use a lot of my resources to test a couple of the legendary mods.
Oh, okay.
So I've only run this with the legendary mod. And let me tell you, I've had pretty good success.
Really? With the legendary mod? I hate it with the legendary mod on it. I hate it on the legendary mod. Jeez, what?
I've torn up some people with the AP because I refuse to fire the HE. AP all the way.
HE at long range only. Only at long range, and of course at DDs at close range. But that's the only time I ever use it. AP all the way.
I've only known it with the legendary mod, and I kind of like it.
Like,
but,
okay. And would you put it in good, or would you put it in competitive?
Yeah, I would put it in good. I'd put it in good.
Yeah, it's an overall solid ship. It's a great damage dealing ship, but of course, or at least in my playstyle, it's an ambusher. In pig based playstyle,
look at me.
Look at me.
Yeah, I mean, with the speed and especially the speed boost, once I get spotted, I end up going into a kiting position, and I'll play with my throttle a lot to try to throw off shells, especially with your engine accelerator.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I play that.
Okay, I can see that. Especially it turns like a brick.
Yeah.
Like a school bus.
Once you get turned, though, you got to survive the turn. But once you get turned, especially with the torps, if someone's chasing you, it's kind of like the Zao cruiser line. You can send out torps as you're running away, and that's honestly the best position for those. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can definitely agree. It's just a good solid ship. I think it needs better AA, and then it would move into competitive because just a good carrier player is just going to remove you on that. Being a cruiser player, Hindenburg, I'm going to go right to playable on this one just because its AP is just nasty. Straight up nasty. It is. Mm-hmm. But the problem is everything else with the ship. It just, if you can, I think I've learned this definitely from Alistair, and I might eventually do it, is actually get the legendary mod for it. And then play it more like a battle cruiser, because you got the range, and now you really have to make sure your shells are landing on the bow or in the superstructure. And if you can do that, it's definitely in the good state and such. But the armor with it, it's got that just enough armor situation, similar to the Goliath. It's got decent mobility, and then of course anything gets close to you, you have a crap ton of torpedoes on each side. So it is definitely it just needs that one little thing, and I think it's just straight up range. But Pigbay, what's your thoughts on the Hindenburg?
I would agree with that. I mean, it's the AP, from that German line. It's just solid.
Oh yeah.
Definitely aiming at the weak points. Also, you can run. What is his name? Hipper.
Yeah.
You run Hipper, get armor piercing cap shell plus, and then start really penning these battleships from range. But yeah, it's rough to deal with until you get in that range, because there's this threat area that you can't engage these battleships, or maybe even some of these cruisers, and they can engage you. So there's a thin line you got to play.
Yeah, I think Borderline should have Russian levels of range, and I think that would be insane. Or at least Borderline, and then the legendary module takes it right into that area, because even with that, even at the armor, it's maneuverable enough to do that. It can defend itself against with DDs. With that, it would be a really good ship. It just needs that buff, and it clearly shows. On to the next one. Are you good?
Yep.
Khaba.
I hate it. Oh, this is another one I don't own it, but I've played on the press because of the legendary mod. I don't like it. I just don't like the boat at all. There's better gunboats in my opinion.
Yep.
And there's really nothing that it does that other ships don't do better. Like the next ship that's coming out, it's a better Khaba.
Yeah. So the Khaba runs into the problem of it's been power crept, and it wasn't good off the bat. So, especially with the Grozovoi now in the area, the Grozovoi is just a better Khaba, and I've actually decommissioned my Khaba on my main account. I stripped of everything. I'm going to keep it just to have it, so I don't have to pay the $13 million. But overall, it doesn't fit anywhere, and everything that it does, something does it better, and such. And that's why I always advise, stop at the Kiev. It's lower in the water. Maybe do that. Wargame into the Kebab. And then maybe give it rapid reload too. More smokes. Maybe 6 kilometer torps? Maybe? I don't know. Something like that. Or 7 kilometer? Something kind of barely.
I don't like the Kiev either. So
I'd like the Kiev just because those guns are just so pinpoint accurate. But yeah, the Kebab, it just doesn't. It needs a lot of touch up, and then let alone, I actually think the legendary mod should actually be what it is. I think it should be an augment. I think the Kebab should have great range, and then hey, trade out and you now get usable torpedoes. So now it comes to this kind of altered ship.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just to me. But the Colbert, I'm grinding to it. I've played it, but of course you're the DD player. What are you thinking?
Uh, I would say, I would say good slash playable. But just because it's in good slash playable doesn't mean it's not fun.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing here. Guns really good. Has a long reload, but man, when you have that rapid reload up, especially like when you're firing at another DD with armor piercing, you're shredding them, and they're gonna have to disengage. You have usable torps. You can't really. There's a very tiny window to stealth torp, but even then, that's still a greater range than the Khaba. So I mean, it's a better Khaba. It's faster than the Khaba. It doesn't turn as well, but you're doing like 40 something, 49 knots or something crazy.
Yeah, you're
50 with
fast.
55. Yeah, 55 with engine boost. So
yeah. So the Colbert.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're gonna put it. Sorry, I cut you off.
I would say playable, good in good hands, good.
So I'm gonna push the playable, but I'd borderline it. It's not the same way, but I'd borderline niche actually, just because it's such a unique ship to play. Because if you're in a ship, if you're in a game with a decent carrier, it's a need slot. This thing has a person on the side with a 9mm trying to shoot something out of the air. Like, it's not doing anything. I mean, but
it's pretty much any DD that's not Holland.
Yeah, pretty much at that point. That's why it's like I'd agree with you on playable, borderline good. And I do love. I think it's definitely that borderline good situation because they finally gave it that +1 reload, +1 on engine accelerator. I still think it needs one more of each, but I think that's definitely more of like, hey, it should just be kind of excessive because the guns are all it has, but the guns are so good and the torpedoes are definitely more spam torpedoes anyways, so it's not really about stealth torping, it's more about area of denial, constantly keeping them thinking, when are the next line of torps coming out, when are the next things, and just that speed makes it just a fun ship line to play. Especially tier 7+ and like that, it just gets fun. But yeah, it's definitely more playable. I think I don't know how I would make it better. It's kind of just already fun in its own position. What would you think about buffs?
All right, so well, if you want to make it better, make it more maneuverable, I guess.
Yeah.
And then what's it called? Another problem with the Colbert that the Marceau fixed is the turret traverse.
Oh yeah.
It's like 12 degrees or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's slow.
So I mean, it can't be a knife fighter with slow turrets. So maybe buff the turret traverse and then maneuverability.
Yeah, make it like capable of not necessarily knife fighting at like 3-4 kilometers like the Marcel the Marcel does, but make it be able to at least keep the guns on target at 7 kilometers. Like it's slow, but it's a fun ship line if you can make sure you stay at range. So now Kremlin, have you been able to play this?
I have not. Kremlin's one that I have not played.
Yeah, so in the current meta, just because of everything, if you have the legendary equipment and you have the legendary commander, or at least a very good commander, it ekes into good. But overall, it still needs a lot of help in playable. It just does not do well in games. It, because of that legendary equipment, and I know Terry kind of illustrated it further than my science videos did, but basically it changes who your biggest target is. Battleships were your biggest enemies because you had that just enough armor, but now you have enough armor that now cruisers become your biggest enemies, but you don't have the DPM to put them down, so it's one of those hard things that I just, the Kremlin needs a lot of stuff, especially with that slow reload. But I'm betting you've gone up against a few. What do you think?
Honestly, I think I've fought them a handful of times. I don't really, because you got to remember these things, they were nerfed like as soon as they came out, and for no reason. Like people didn't even have a chance to grind them out yet, and I thought those nerfs weren't really warranted, but now they're slowly trying to buff it. I guess playable. Again, I haven't played it at all.
Yeah, it's a great port decoration. It is. It's a beautiful ship, but very few hands can put it in a very good place, and even then I think they would still agree there's better ships on there. So, yeah. Let's see, Richthofen.
Richthofen, I would say, is the weakest tier 10 carrier. So
Yes.
I would put it at a good, I guess. I mean, yeah.
I'd actually argue niche, because it's the only carrier that actually you want to carrier snipe. And then on top of it, it's a carrier for non-carrier players. It's so stupid I can play it. But no, it's a fun line, but it's not great in any way. It really doesn't do anything.
Yeah, the only reason why I rank it above is just because even a bad carrier will accidentally spot people for your team.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's by far, I think, the worst.
It is. It definitely is the worst, but it is. I'm going up for it. I think I'm still stupid for going up for it, but it's just fun because at least now, like at the end of the game, I can just be like, YOLO. Just go, and you'll rack up 30, 40k with those secondaries. They are devastating, and the AA is actually pretty good. So even Midway fighters and Midway bombers will actually die a lot from the Richthofen. It's quite surprising, but it needs a lot of help. But it's just it's a non-fire HE, or it's not an HE fire starting carrier, which is incredibly powerful because then you can work with your team on that stuff. But also, it's just the fighters are very flimsy. There's a lot of issues, but it is one of those carriers. Actually, this is the one carrier that, yes, its main strat is carrier sniping. Like, it's to remove the other carrier.
Yeah, I mean, the AP bombs, if you're not, like, hitting the carrier, it's hard to rely on citadels on anything else. You know what I mean? And honestly, with the whole line, I was just disappointed that they didn't give it guns. Like, you have auto secondaries. If it would have stayed exactly the same, but had freaking Graf Zeppelin levels of guns, I would have gone up this line in a heartbeat.
No, they need to just add more, like, just straight up. It's a fantasy project, anyways, from Wargaming.
Come on.
Add 4 guns on each side that are like 180s, for Christ's sake. Just make them hilarious. Make them reload every 10 seconds. I don't care. Just put them in there with decent range, and this line will be hilariously fun. Yeah, on the Richthofen specifically, of course, give the smaller ones too, but it's just like they're just fun. They're just good. They're not. Yep. They're stupid. They're stupid in this game, and it's almost akin to the Kleber, but the Richthofen is just. I wouldn't suggest it if you're trying to go.
I wanted it to be a cruiser with a flight deck. That's all I wanted, and they didn't even give it to me.
I know, right? I was like, come on, just give it a few more guns, give it manually controlled guns, and then make its fighters and its bombers and dive bombers. Just give it a little bit more health, and I think it would be in a perfect shape. I think it would go right up to good, if not competitive, because, once again, it's a carrier. It can do a lot. So,
yeah.
Now to our newest one, the Marceau.
Marceau, I love this boat. A lot of fun. So the guns don't hit as hard as Colbert, but they reload way faster. It's like having rapid reload on all the time because it reloads. I think I dropped mine down to 3.1 because I did the reload buff because it didn't need turret traverse because the turrets turn like 40 seconds or 40 degrees a second. I think. But
if you go completely meme build on it, they go all the way up to like 60.
It's ridiculous. No one needs that much.
But you do.
I mean, I'm happy with a 3.1 second reload. So
yeah, that's true. That is true.
I would take it to good / competitive, more good, because depending on the player. But other things that it brings to the table is it can stealth torp pretty well. But not only that, the torpedoes reload every 40 seconds. And you have 2 launchers per side. Launchers per side. And honestly, when you launch one set, you start turning the boat around, you launch that set, it already feels like your other set's coming back off of cooldown. So you just start turning around. So you can play that Clemson kind of turny torpedo game. But the thing is that these do have range, and this ship is pretty stealthy. And quick.
I definitely go borderline competitive, but I'm gonna put it in good just because, of course, the range on those guns are really rough, and then let alone when you are firing at long range with those torpedoes. Yeah, you're putting out a lot of them, but you're going to miss most of them because that spread is horrific.
Yeah.
They are definitely more area of denial, but they are fast enough, unlike the Elbings. I like that. And I think the Kleber actually would kind of benefit from those 6, or not. I think they've got 7 kilometers, and the Marceau is like 9.6 or is 9 or something around that.
I don't know off the top of my head, but
yeah,
I just know that there's a good window to stealth toward.
Yeah. So it's like, I think the Colbert would benefit from that too, just because, once again, they're just, you sending out, you're only hitting 1 or 2 out of 6.
Yeah.
Like, they just have so much spread. So the Marcel definitely is a clearly better. It was a lot of fun, and I'm gonna regret if I don't decide to pull the trigger on it. But I'm kind of like, I've spent too much money. I need a hold.
Well, here's the thing. One of the reasons I decided to pull the trigger, I'm like, you know what? I didn't expect them to release this as a straight up purchase. I want them to see that this is the way that people want to buy these ships.
Yeah.
So that's what I ended up doing. I'm like, I'm gonna support it.
Yeah.
I didn't go for the $99 bundle because
it's not worth it.
Yeah, I just stuck my Republic dude on him. I'm like, whatever. I'll use that engine accelerator instead, and because I think it doesn't add 100%. It's like it reduces the cooldown, which I think is a little more beneficial.
Yeah, because you're actually able to. The Jujard just literally gives it double the time.
Yeah,
and such, which that kind of works on the Kleber, but the problem is, guess what? He doesn't have rapid reload plus. Like, it's just you don't have that, and that's everything that makes the ships they are. So it's just Jujard just doesn't make it as good as it should be, and it really is one of those problems. I wish Jujard was better, but Felipe is just clearly the best. So
yeah.
Marcel better than that. Oh, Midway.
Top tier.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. That is it's absolutely and erroneously dangerous, and
it's the simpler one to play.
Yep.
Because you only got 1 torpedo squad to worry about. Dive bombers hit pretty often. I can't count how many times I've been in a DD and just took 1 dive bomber and lost like 4k health, and I'm like, oh really? That's how we starting the game off? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So.
Including the amount of fires you get, too.
Yeah. Well, the thing I think the planes have like a 60% fire chance.
Yeah, it's nuts.
If I remember correctly. But yeah, it definitely, you can mesh it with other ships. Again, the usual suspects. Smolensk, Conqueror, Halland. What else? Anything else that we've mentioned so far?
Yeah. There's so many ships now. Can't keep track of things. There's 51, I think we counted.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, top. I'm just gonna leave it there.
Yeah. So yeah, Midway. You don't really need to say much. Add in the legendary module that just lowers the dispersion that they buffed a few updates back, which was just no one said a damn thing about that. But no, Midway is the easiest carrier line to play. I highlighted that in one of my videos. It's just stupidly easy, and it's disgusting. It's just don't. But. Minotaur, I'm going to take this one, so it's going right up to the top 2. It's a insane DD. It has soul-crushing amounts of firepower. It is AP only, so you have to be prepped for that. But if you wait, you learn all the things that you need to for this ship to play it, it's disgustingly powerful. It's just amazing. Add in the legendary module, add in BD. Good God, you have a single person that can hold a flank if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. It is insanely good. I think it's Alistair said this or Matt. It's a balance. Actually, it's Alistair. It's a balanced Smolensk. It has a ceiling, but it has a very low floor because of course you show broadside in this thing, just right out the map. Just you're
smacked.
Yep. It's such a high skill sailing ship and high risk, high reward. It's fun.
Yeah.
Do you have
best DD at tier 10?
Yeah. That's true. Both HMS.
It actually has pretty decent AA as well, and you got that DFA as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, I do have the ship. It sits as, between one of them and my other favorite, what's it called, cruisers to play at tier 10. So at tier 10, I like playing cruisers. I don't know why, just for that tier alone.
Oh yeah.
Anything else, I'm probably playing a DD or battleship. But tier 10, for some reason, I like cruisers the most. And Minotaur, and Worcester are my absolute 2 favorites.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, the Minnow is just absolutely fantastic. It is the DD at tier 10. It's so much fun, but you, of course, you have to understand how to play DD and then a little bit of how to play, AP only ship, but also add on top of it, the grind will forcibly teach it to you anyway. Good luck, son. Like it is painful if you don't follow the right rules. So yeah.
I didn't mind the grind.
No,
I didn't mind the grind.
There's no bad ship above like tier 5. It just keeps on getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and then you've got the Belfast, which is a great premium. The Plymouth, which is a great one too. On top of it, there's just
great
so much
captain trainers.
Oh yeah, especially if you, once again, BD also comes around often, so it's not exactly hard to say you'd have them. So yeah, I don't think we can talk up the Minotaur anymore. It's just
if you have BD, it's a must-have. Minotaur is a must-have.
Oh yeah, it's just like the Holland. If you have Swirsky, you go up the Holland line.
Yeah,
like you just do. So, Montana.
I think it's all right. It's a solid ship. It's not. It's like the gearing of battleships. Like it's not the best, but it's not the worst.
Yeah.
You have decent AA guns. You have a lot of them. Hit pretty hard.
Yep. Fairly accurate.
It's not the quickest thing out there, but it's not slow. It's like I think it's like 28 knots or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
So I think good. It's a solid place. You get rapid reload 1. I wish it was a little higher, especially with like power creep and stuff like that. But even then, it's still pretty solid.
I'm gonna argue borderline competitive, just because it's clearly better than the Conqueror. It's clearly better than the Großer Kurfürst in that area.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And in reality, it actually already does have it does need stuff, but it's barely competitive for me. But it just it's one of those things where it's like it's got its foot into competitive. If it had DFA 3, which I think it should, if it had rapid reload 2, I think it would go right into top meta. But right now, it's just overall an insanely solid ship, and the issues that it needs to get fixed are just quality of life, really.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So it's not like where the Conqueror, you need to fundamentally change the healing or have a legendary commander to fix it. The Montana literally is just needs that, one extra skill or just a little extra this. Like it's much easier than, per se, bumping the Großer Kurfürst. You need a lot of stuff going for it in order to actually make it good. So the Montana ekes its foot into competitive to me, but would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Well, I guess that's done. That was quick. Moskva.
You played Moskva more. I do have Moskva.
Okay.
But you could take this one.
Top tier meta. It's just the best sniper. It's the best cruiser in game. Handles everything. And like that. While the Minnow is the best DD cruiser, this is the best battle cruiser. It does everything. Especially when you have played it. First thoughts, like anything else you want to share?
I was very happy way back when they added the radar. Super stoked about that. Made it have a little more utility. Very accurate guns. Even if you're firing AP at DDs from range, keyword from range, you'll knock some health out. You'll be hitting them for 1k per shell.
Yep.
Definitely though, once those DDs start moving in closer, you gotta swap. You gotta swap to HE.
Then Loki, really good secondaries.
Yeah.
Khaba
is really good. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, Moskva's perfect. It literally is the perfect battle cruiser in this game, and it can tank so much. It's got that radar. It's got that perfect mix of everything, and if the Nevsky just had a little bit more maneuverability, I'd argue right there with it. Like, it just has it, but Moskva's insane.
Yeah, you already know I love Moskva, the Moskva guns.
Oh. Yeah.
Made a short about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That was a good one. Oh, man. Napoli. Now, of course, this is post-nerf Napoli.
Yeah. All right, so pre-nerf Napoli goes straight to friggin' top meta because I've never seen a DD melt that quick. All right, so for those that don't know what happened, when Napoli was initially released to the CCs, the auto secondaries, all right, keyword is auto, were hitting just as hard as the manual secondaries. So while your autos are going off, you're firing your manuals, and they're both hitting for like 400s with sap, and it was amazing.
It was 500.
Oh, it was 500. Never mind, 500. Sorry,
it was so bad.
It was the best thing ever. And then on top of that, you had secondary overload, so you would just increase your range and the rate of fire. It was the best. I loved it. Post, I'm gonna say Post is not that bad at killing DDs still. Just because those manual secondaries are still pretty good at killing DDs. And with the secondary overload, buffing the reload of those and the range, it still works out pretty well. Guns, honestly, I don't mind. I normally just fire AP out of them. I don't.
They're pretty
really
good already. The HE kind of sucks anyways, so
yeah, I don't swap to HE at all. No. I keep because if I'm going to shoot at DD, I'm just going to stay on the manuals,
So where would you place it?
I place it at good.
Good? Okay.
Yeah, I place it.
I want to say good. I'd actually argue niche. Because that range of those guns.
Okay.
Like, it is just the same, except the complete opposite of the Gouden Leeuw. Or the Golden Lion. Because now I can actually take on DDs. But you get close to a battleship, and those secondaries pretty much do nothing.
Yeah.
It's literally hitting them with a wiffle ball bat. You're just, like, trying to, and it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah. You'll see a bunch of zeros.
Yeah, and its guns are good. They're short range though, and we've already run into that problem where it just doesn't have it. It doesn't have that strength that it should, and I really wish it did. I really wish it was pre-nerf secondaries.
Oh yeah.
I would just be like, hey, screw it. Napoli is the German cruiser that we've all wanted. But yeah, no, the guns are good. I would definitely once again, niches plays the field, but overall, it's gonna be good. I would say niche just because if you're not in a DD heavy game, it's a very lackluster cruiser. But when you're in a high DD game, it's like a Venezia. You're just like, come at me, bitch. Come at me. Doesn't matter. You're going to die. So I would argue. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with it. Definitely, you got to know what your targets. You got to know who you can fire at, who you can get away with firing at, because again, with that AP that is good, if you really want to be shooting at battleships, you got to hit the weak spots.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Know your target.
Yeah, and that's why it's like Napoli. I want to say good. I would agree with you, but it's team dependent on the enemy team. And as much as I enjoy it no matter what, and even if you do get into a battleship situation, especially with the Christfofo Colombo, which, by the way, you kind of pen, which is kind of hilarious with the secondaries, but once again, you're going up really close to a Christfofo Colombo then, and it doesn't work out for many people anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He has a lot of guns.
Yeah, it does. That's why if anyone looks at my stats, don't look at my Napoli stats. Okay, thank you. Please buy. Thank you. Bye. On to Ohio.
Ohio, I do own Ohio. I think... God, I can't remember the rapid reload. It does have rapid reload, so it's a good captain trainer for Montana.
Yep.
Hard hitting guns, but not as many. So you have 4 turrets of 2 guns apiece. I forgot the caliber of the guns.
It's the Fukushima.
Is this?
Or no, it's Yamato. It's Yamato. Guns. Yeah. 457.
So,
I think it is.
Yeah. They definitely hit hard.
Yeah.
Especially if you get citadels. Because those big guns, they get 300% citadel damage.
Yeah.
So
yep,
definitely do a lot of damage. I would just say good. It's a Montana with bigger guns, but less guns.
Yeah, that's kind of where the problem is. It's those less guns. If you don't hit those citadels, you're not doing it, and that's why I would say Montana isn't competitive, but Ohio isn't good. It's kind of more the reason why I said that the Montana eked into competitive. Because putting them next to each other is kind of disingenuous. Because the Ohio, as much as it is a good solid ship, it's just you can feel it's missing something. You can feel that if you don't get the citadels, it's just not as fun. It's just like the Georgia to the Iowa. You just kind of one of those things. It's just it's nice, but God.
Yeah, but Georgia has that engine accelerator.
Oh yeah, engine accelerator 1. Yay.
Yep.
Or no, actually 3, isn't it 3? Actually, no,
I don't know. I don't
think they went full mean. But if not, it's like, oh, cool, I can rush into battle even faster and get torqued by DDs because I can't defend myself against DDs.
It's so you can flank.
Oh, yes, please. At least it's better than a flanking Vermont. Let's move on to the next one. Pietro. So have you tested this test account?
I have not tested this one. This is
Okay.
one that I do not own.
So I'll handle this one. It's going right into needs love. So the main problem with this is that basically this is a Moskva. You got the Moskva guns. No utility. Horrible reload. And by the way, your armor is ubiquitous. The entire thing's the exact same armor. So what happens is that people citadel you through your front plate.
Nice.
By the way, Elbing will citadel it. I've gotten a citadel crisis out of a Pietro before. It's just so bad.
To be fair, Elbing will citadel a lot of cruisers.
It is, but this is like through frontal, like just straight front. Like you should not be able to do that in a DD. Yeah. But the Pietro is supposed to be. It makes it even better when you look at the description. It says it's an armored cruiser that has 360 turrets, which is cool, and I wish it was good. But then you also add in everything with the entire line, which is the Talon's mediocre, the Riga, oh dear lord, it sucks.
Yeah,
it's almost borderline rune, if not worse. Just the DPM. The DPM of this. The thing's got laser guns. Horrible accuracy. It's just everything is like, it's just like, hey, we're gonna make a Moskva that's got 360 turrets. The entire community, yay! When it comes out, this is bullshit. Like, it's just such a bad shit. It's so bad.
Yeah, I wish I could have played it. I honestly, I'm at the Riga and I really don't feel like grinding it. I look at it and I'm like, I guess I'll just grind the St. Louis.
Yeah, no.
St. Louis, I guess.
Yeah, the St. Louis. The Henry is so much better. But no, the Pietro, don't touch this line until it gets massive buffs to its dispersion, massive buffs to its reload. You know, this is borderline Goliath, but a Goliath is almost arguably better because at least it has the heals that can hold up the smokes that can hide and the HE to start fire, even though it's got the high HE fire chance problem. But
yeah.
Oh, the Petro. Yeah, no. Okay, so Preussen actually asked for, basically send everyone over to you because everyone decided to make sure that I never got a good game that stream. So Preussen, what's your thoughts on it?
The Preussen, I love it. Honestly, it reminds me of Montana, but with better AP because it's that German AP that just pens better for some reason. Secondaries are decent. Surprisingly, the AA is better than some, of the other German ships. I have gone clear skies with it a couple times. What else? Accuracy is better in a lot of other German ships that you would expect, like battleships and stuff like that. I would say between competitive and good. More leaning towards good, though. Competitive. I'll put in competitive. I like it.
Yeah, it's borderline competitive. I completely agree with you. It's just like the Montana. It sticks its foot in there because of those guns. Those 12 guns. Once again, you got a lot of them. It's the exact same way as Bourgogne. You have a lot of guns. You got a decent niche, which once again the secondaries, and like that Montana being kind of the overall. But it's like just the Prussian. It's just if this is exactly what the next line is approximately when it comes out, this is gonna be great. I think it's gonna be awesome. Yeah. So I really do. I wish I could have brought better content, but everyone likes to focus on the CC. Yeah.
Well, trust me, I know. Oh, I know.
Oh yeah, we all know. It's PCC time. Puerto Rico. I actually just got this on my account, and I'm gonna say it's good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It has utility.
Yeah, it's got 12 guns.
Radar.
Yep. It's got a lot going for it. Yeah. If you know where to shoot, it gets almost borderline competitive. But it's just sticks and good to me. I don't know. Do you have anything else to say? It's one of those middle of the road. It's just good.
Just good. I wish it was a little better at dealing with EDs, but again, if you have teammates backing you up with that radar, it definitely helps out because I want to keep saying it. Utility wins games.
It's a team comp ship. If you team it up with someone, you're gonna roll and have amazing games. When you're solo, depends on it. But I have found exactly what Alistair, who's actually an insane player with the Puerto Rico here, He says that basically, and I've now slowly started to experience it. Occasionally games you'll be, damn, this is better than the Stalingrad in accuracy. In other games, I can't hit the broadside of a barn at 100 meters. Like, its accuracy is all over the place. So, yeah, kind of get used to it being a temperamental little one, but it's a fun ship. It's a fun ship. So
the old Lenin dispersion.
Oh yeah, right. Republique.
So this, I'd put it at top.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it right now. Republic is still good, even after the nerfs. It's still really good. That rapid reload, especially if you're running God, what's that lieutenant commander? We just talked about
Felipe.
Yeah, Felipe. It's nasty.
Oh yeah.
It's perfectly built for Republic. Republic's quick. Guns hit hard. You only got 8 of them, but they're, monstrous. And that rapid reload definitely makes up for it. If you time it right, you can get 3 salvos per rapid reload.
Yeah.
But you got to time it perfectly.
Yep. And you can also have the speed boost to get anywhere you need to get in the match to be specifically capable, or you can run away and kite and still do incredibly well with this ship. The Republic is an insanely good ship. I completely agree. It sits right there at the top. I like that Big Base blocking you, but it's okay. We like seeing you instead. But yeah, no, Republic, especially with the Alsace now getting buffed and the Gascon being a pretty decent ship, it's a fun grind. Lion's a meme, but whatever happens. But Republic is just straight up insane. This is a ship that I know I personally wanted to ask you about. Fukushima, Big Bay.
I hate it, but that's just me. All right, for some strange reason, I will say right now, any battleship that is Japanese, I suck with. All right, except for Hyuga. For some strange reason, Blk Yamato, I like. Blk Yamato has rapid reload and precise aim.
Yeah, so it has the best combo in game.
Yeah, so it has Roma treatment, but Yamato, I fucking suck with it. Oh, excuse my language. Excuse my French.
No.
I got like 100 games in that thing. I think I got about 60,000 average damage, but like a 46% win rate. I don't understand it, but for Fukushima, having less amount of guns than the Yamato, there's no real benefit to having bigger guns in it. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So having bigger guns is not really that much of a benefit than Yamato, just because one, you're getting more shells on target. Yes, they are bigger. They, I think it's Citadels for like 350, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you can definitely go all the way up to, I think it's like 12,000 damage with depending on the ship, but it's mostly 10,000 Citadel.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
And you got to be running Yamamoto, I believe, too, with that Citadel
it's a
strike
meme
thing.
build at that point. It's a meme build.
Yeah. I would put it between playable and good. Some people might get mad at that, but I'm not good with it.
I'm going to completely agree with you. I've had some hilarious games in the Fukushima, but you need a Citadel. And if you don't Citadel, it's borderline good.
And that's the thing is, like, you can't rely on getting Citadels in every game.
Nope.
Like, there's few ships that can do that. For some reason, Yukon, I can get Citadels with that thing. But
yeah, you and Yukon.
I like it. I like the Yukon. I think it's a great buy for 50 silver. Get you, but yeah, like especially here in Blitz, it's so hard to rely on Citadels. So if you try to build this thing around it, it's going to be like, oh yeah, every so often in a match you might get a Citadel and it'll be hilarious. It'll be like 10,000 damage, but to me, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, no, I'd completely agree with you. It's borderline good just because, yes, it's more of that meme machine. If you have Yamamoto and you've got him, of course, spec'd him up all the way, which is a lot of work. The Fukushima can kind of become this meme machine, but else it's just kind of got the Georgia treatment, which is just doesn't have enough guns. Yes, it hits hard. You have absolutely no way of defending yourself against DDs. It's just pure sniping, and it's kind of boring. But yeah, good. I think you're completely right. It just sits in good, but if you don't have Yamamoto, if you don't have a level 12 commander, it's barely playable. It's definitely unplayable. But talking about from one trick pony to the next trick pony, the Shimkaze.
I mean, we already talked about the black one, so we could just throw it in good.
Yeah, pretty much.
Call it a day.
Yeah, it's the one trick pony. Yeah, we already talked about it. It's just not that. It's annoying. It's not actually that good. I don't think. If we didn't have the carrier meta that we had now, then previously we had the Shimkaze meta. We had the DD meta. So it's just the Shimkaze used to rule, but it's just so good that it still does. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say about it.
I mean, not only that, you got to think about it now. Like, there's so many good cruisers now that are just able to kill these DDs quickly, you know?
Yep. And so many good carriers to delete them.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I just realized, crap, we skipped over the Malta for some odd reason. Shoot.
Oh, all right.
About top.
That
solved that problem.
Malta.
Oops.
Yeah, we'll just leave Malta there.
Yep, Malta. Yep. Basically, its dive bombers are insane. It just carpet bombs you and just causes 3 fires, and then they wait, then another run, 3 fires, and now you're perma fires. And the torps suck now, at least. I got that going for you, but
yeah, well, they suck if you're not. If you're a battleship, they don't suck because they're fucking hitting you.
That's true. That's true.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. No, Malta's just. I was like, wait, where's the Malta? We missed the Malta.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it.
It's one of the most OP ships. How did we both do that? But whatever. Whatever. Let's talk about another OP ship.
I'm gonna put that at needs love.
Yeah, needs radar, rapid reload 2, if not 3.
Could it also do like 50 knots, please?
Smolensk.
We can all agree it's top tier, top meta. I mean, it's been there ever since release. Things easy to stack damage. You got Grozovoi guns and a lot of them at that. Setting fires all the time. You can build a comp around it. It can deal with DDs fairly easily with AP. I mean, you got 6-kilometer torps, which is better in Khaba.
Yep.
It has a lot going for it. It is squishy.
Yeah.
But if you hand it to someone that knows what they're doing, has played Minotaur that line before,
it's no stopping. There's no ceiling to it, and it's completely broke. And I've tried to be like, hey, let's buff everything else, but the problem is you have to know how to smoke shoot, and even people get to tier 10 and don't know how to smoke shoot. It's just a rough. It's a rough thing to deal with, but yes, that is definitely top meta. Ugh, I hate that I have to say that, but yeah, it's going to be there. Summers, though.
Summers are decent. I would put it at good. So Summers does have a crap ton of torps. You could possibly send out 20, which is more than Shimkaze, but they're slower. They hit a little. They hit, it doesn't hit for like 4K. They hit for like 3.5. Still, decent amount of damage, but it's great for zoning. The guns don't reload as fast, but they do a pretty good amount of damage, especially AP at other DDs. The crown jewel, though, I will put on this is that it has the best detection range of any other DD. All right, I think it's sitting at like 5 point something.
Yeah, it's like 5.6. 5.5.
Yeah, it's the best one out there. If you want to outspot any other DD, that's what you play.
Yeah, so I'd say good, but I kind of almost want to go borderline competitive. And I say that because I'd almost always want to take over the Gearing. I'd probably even argue over the Grozovoi, over the Halland. It's the guns are incredibly good. The torps, they're slow, but there's so many of them, and the quick reload on top of it, you're just spamming them up. You can hold flanks with this sucker.
Yeah. So the thing about the guns is it has more guns than the Gearing, but the Gearing has a better reload.
Yeah.
But this ship has the Alpha. So
and that kind of pays off in the end. So I'd once again, I'd say borderline sits in competitive. Borderline. It's just incredibly good, and I'd say just the only reason why I would definitely agree with you or I'd say borderline sits in good, borderline competitive. Sorry if I can say this right, but it definitely is more good in most hands, but in the best hands, I think that a Summers will beat out a Gearing, will even beat out a Grozovoi. It's just that play style of, yes, you can sound with those torps and people are going to dodge them, but you're going to have them right back up again, let alone you have the torpedo reload, smoke that's good. Like, it just has all the kit for it.
Yeah, and like I said, the main thing is having the best detection range. So.
Yeah, and that's also killer because now you have the alpha, so that you've got the first front off alpha, you get the first shots. And we all know in warfare, the first person to shoot tends to win. So, yeah. Stalingrad, I'll take this one right up to top. This thing is, do you want to have a sniper? Do you want to have a sniper that literally converges rounds? It's insanely good. I would say it does put a little bit itself into competitive just because it has absolutely no utility. And as both Pigbay has said multiple times this time, and I have said, utility wins games. But at the same time, utility is also being able to just be like, hey, by the way, you're at 13 kilometers and I'm going to strip your guns. Yeah, it will do that. It's just done. It's insanely powerful, and it's insanely good in the right commander, and secondaries are pretty good when it gets close, and decent AA. But, what are your thoughts there, Pigbay? Do you think it should go lower?
I think Stalingrad's fine where it's at. I think it has, you said Moskva has the best accuracy. I personally think Stalingrad has the best accuracy. Yeah. It doesn't need its, precise aim 3, but it has it. Yeah. Do you want to put like holes and holes and holes, shells and holes?
Oh yeah.
So definitely, especially it doesn't do it, in my opinion, it doesn't do as bad against battleships because you can aim at those weak points, you know what I mean, at range, and still get full pens. And then up close, you can start citadeling them, and especially if you got backup with you.
Yeah.
It's just a very accurate ship.
Yeah. By itself, I would definitely argue competitive. But when you put it with a team comp that can defend it from DDs better, and then on top of it, that can handle a lot of other things, Stalingrad is just top meta. It is just damn near perfect. It has a skill ceiling unlike the Smolensk, but at least it's enjoyable when you do it. So it's you don't feel dirty after playing it. Thunderer, have you gotten to play this yet?
Not since the buff. I think I played on stream and it didn't go too well because I got focused, but I would honestly put it good going towards competitive, just because it all kind of depends on a comp. Yeah. If you're going to use that HE, I don't think the AP is as good, in my opinion. This is one of the few ships that I will say it's all right. It's good to run IFHE.
Yes.
Just because that HE is that good. I think it's some of the best fire chance in all of tier 10 battleships.
Yeah.
It's like 20. No, it's higher than that, isn't it? It's like 28.
22.
Is it 28 or 22? Okay.
I don't know, but it's pretty high. It's incredible. It's nuts.
And they just buffed the reload down, they brought the reload down even more. So, I mean, honestly, I didn't think it was that bad before, but they've just buffed it. I need to do a little further testing, but I would say good, foot almost towards competitive. It does have defensive air alert. A is not the best, but it's not bad. So, that skill does help out. But yeah, especially if you're running Horatio Nelson with the heals and stuff.
Oh yeah, I think that at that point, I think it has the most amount of health out of any tier 10 in the game. Let alone that's even before adding in the premium heals that you can have.
Heals, yeah.
I'm definitely agree with you on competitive. Definitely has a little foot in good. It's just like the Somers where it's just like it just barely feeks in, just like the Montana. But that HE, if you've got IFHE, let alone God forbid you have a legendary commander with IFHE plus. The Thunderer is insanely good. It's got a lot of health. It's one of those battleships. You have to sit back. You have to play the long con game with the HE.
Yep.
The AP is good. It is a viable strat, but once again, that HE just is clearly its winner, and you have to go for the IFHE buff. So I feel it's a clearly better Conqueror, especially with that additional buff, precise aim, everything like that. Unfortunately, all of its skills kind of go against the Conqueror style, so you kind of almost need a commander that specifically goes towards that, and the Vanguard and like that. But at the same time, that's still a pretty good ship, and I'd even argue having a separate commander for either of these at some point, because I do believe the Conqueror is still a good ship, but it's just the Thunderer, it's so much more enjoyable ever since that 4th heal. Oh my god, and the reload buff, it's just gotten disgusting. So, anything else?
Not for Thunder.
Yeah. I'm like, and also I think it's Yamato size, right? 457. I think it's 457s.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah, they're pretty big. So that's pretty strong. Venezia, we've got a cruiser right here. That's going right into competitive. You put it in a no DD game, its AP is nasty. You can chunk. It's a shotgun, but its maneuverability, its smoke, its capabilities. It doesn't have any utility to hunt down DDs, but let's just say you are with someone who spots them. Well, guess what? The Venezia is going to take it out in 13.5 seconds. Either way, they are nasty ships. But you have to know how to play, once again, non-HE fire starting cruisers. You have to be running SAP and AP and know exactly when to do it. Having Luigi makes it nasty. Borderline top meta, but Venezia, it's an incredibly strong ship, let alone a 4DD game. Venezia will win the game for the team. It's just, that's how strong they are. But as a DD main, how do you feel about Venezia?
I fear them.
Yep.
They're definitely scary to go against, especially in a DD. But not only that, we talked about their armor piercing. You got to remember too, is those 3 turrets in the front are all super firing. So you're able to get they're 3 guns per turret. So that's what, 15?
15.
No, yeah.
Yeah, 15 at the end.
15 guns by being just straight bow in. You're this tiny target while everybody's, broadside trying to shoot you. Their, dispersion's kind of spreading it out like this, but you're here like this. So you're kind of, in a sense, able to tank that way. Have the enemy waste a lot of shots while still being able to get 15 guns on target.
Yep. But also
on target.
Yeah, on target, because of course it is a shotgun. Luckily, you have, I think it's 4 uses of precise aim, so you're gonna be able to spam that. But with what you said, actually when you are dealing with against a good player, don't do that. The armor is not good enough to hold up against it.
Right,
you will get
I'm not saying run straight at them. Obviously you're gonna be playing with your throttle going back and forward and doing things like that.
Yep.
But in the grand scheme of things, with the way dispersion works, it's going to spread it out like this.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. Yep. Unless they're ripple fire, the better players are going to beat you on that.
Yes.
But of course, once again, if you have a DD in front of you, you still have 9,000. I think about around 1,000 damage sap cells coming their way every 13 seconds. It's incredibly powerful, and especially if you can pair it with something that can, maybe a Worcester spot everything for you. It's days out. It's you're done for the game. It's easy. It's incredibly powerful. Vermont.
Meta. I'm gonna say meta. I think it's a better pick than Montana. And I think even in a newer player's hands, it's better suited because of the slow speed. So the slow speed allows you not to put yourself in a bad position.
True.
So I'm thinking more in terms of like a center cap map. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of new players will end up just rushing straight at the enemy head first. This thing allows you not to do that. But not only that, it has a crap ton of guns that are huge.
Yeah.
And the downside, long reload, but these things are massive. Like when you full strike someone, I'm talking like you can get like 20k, 25k a salvo.
Yep.
It's nasty. And I've seen plenty of like carriers deleted because they put themselves in a bad position. And someone in the Vermont's like, oh, I can't not shoot this.
Yeah. Just, if I may, just remove you. I'd say borderline top meta. And it's only because if you aren't actually good at shooting, these ships hurt you when you miss. And
it does.
Yes, they're incredibly tanky, which thank God they are, because they are massive. It's almost like I can't stop hitting you. Like it's just you especially with the Smolensk on the enemy team or anything like that. It's just you're a hit machine for the enemy team. These things are big, massive bullies, so you can get into games where the Vermont's just not worth a damn. And that kind of is rough for it. But yeah, I'll agree with you. It is definitely top meta. More competitive, in my opinion, just depending on the game. But yeah, Vermont is a great ship, and I love it. I don't even have my maxed out, and it's fun because when you hit those 20, 30, even 1,000 salvos, you just smack it up. It is
definitely worth it to have Dewey on that. I just picked up Dewey, and I'm still trying to grind out and get armor piercing capsule. I can't wait to get armor piercing.
Horizontal deck protection, I would argue, is almost as important.
Yeah,
because just
I would say that
you
too.
have so much armor. You have so much armor protection, so it's just that just makes you even tankier. And Dewey definitely solidifies it in meta and top. But if you just have a regular commander, more competitive, but I still incredibly strong. Sits in top in meta. Worcester. Now, of course, this is the king of skills. For me, I generally actually say competitive. But for
top.
the every other player who can handle those damn arcs, it's top meta. It is. This thing is... It's got everything. It's got great armor because it sits low in the water. It's got great guns. 360, I think, at the front, if I'm remembering right, because I don't play it much, because I hate the arcs, once again. But insane AP at close range. Decent HE at long range. Suborbital arc, so you have to get used to that. But it also, once again... insane. Like, I cannot stress this enough, and I'm betting Pigbay will just say it again. Insane AA. And then you have sonar and radar. It's just an insane skill. But Pigbay, what are your thoughts on the Worcester?
The best support cruiser out there.
Yep.
Kind of that line from Cleveland up, especially. But the thing is, like, a lot of people sleep on its AP. Its AP is like very nasty, especially up close. Like, if for some reason the battleship ends up right on you, you load that AP and start aiming at the nose, you're gonna see his health just start dropping. You're gonna start full penny for 500s, and then you reload. It reloads what, every 3 to 4 seconds?
Yeah, 3 to 4 seconds depending on your build.
So you're just dishing out damage. It doesn't have any secondaries, but it doesn't need it because it fires so quickly. Yeah. AA's best in tier. Yep. Still can't fully stop, planes, but that's a plane problem in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a balance issue.
Radar, especially if you're running Kincaid, it just makes everything better because he's gonna give you more radar, more sonar, more defensive fire alert.
Yeah.
I don't run IFHE on it, even though it's IFHE plus. I still run armor piercing cap shell because it's just better. Yeah. But solid choice, top meta every day.
Yeah, no, definitely. That if you start to learn to use the AP at the Cleveland, that entire line all of a sudden takes on a whole new meaning. Because now you have a whole new role where you actually, hey, oh, by the way, I'm going to sit behind this island and fire HE over it. But if anyone gets close, hell have mercy on their soul to enter my area where my AP is loaded, and you will... It's insane. It's absolutely nuts. I would definitely suggest it. And for anyone who can deal with the arcs, it's definitely top meta. For me, it's more competitive just because I can't aim. I can't. Those shells. But Yamato.
For me playing it, it's in needs love. But for other people, it's going to be competitive or pretty much borderline top meta. Actually, I want to say it's top.
I'm gonna push it up top for you. I'm gonna push it up.
I want to say top. Yeah. Just because it's a classic, hasn't been power crept.
I don't think it can be, but yeah,
it's still like king of when people think battleships, it's still king.
Oh
yeah. Has massive guns. Doesn't reload as long as a Vermont.
Yep.
Still, I'd personally prefer Vermont, but it's just me. Yeah, I mean, it's been here since the beginning, and it's still here at top.
I think it's the sniping. It really nails its playstyle, where the Vermont really actually kind of need to get a little close to make sure, especially when you're off of that precise aim situation. The Vermont is still good just because of the amount of guns, but when it snipes without that precise aim, you're really only hitting 6 shells easy. You're not really doing it well. Yamato, without precise aim, you're still hitting 7 shells easy. And such. These things converge, especially once you're using the precise aim skill, and it tanks really well. And its secondaries are kind of insane once you get close enough. At least not its main, it's not controlled secondaries, but it's auto secondaries. But yeah, it's just a solid sit there. I think it's better than the Blk Yamato because, of course, you have that better precise aim instead of spotted lane. Yes, I know the camo isn't as good,
Exactly. I mean, nothing beats that camo.
I know, right? Nothing beats the camo.
Oh well, space camo.
Yeah, Republic space camo or Moskva space camo.
Moskva.
Yeah,
Moskva takes the cake.
Yeah,
you know what? That's the next tier maker. It's going to be space camos. Who has the best space camo?
Oh man. But yeah, we got Yamato. Yamato's right there in top. It's just it's never been power crap because it does what it needs to do. It's good at what it does, and I just accidentally said it's space fun. But yeah, no, it does what it needs to do. That's all you need of it, and it's good. It's grind. It's interesting, depending on how you can handle it. But at the same time, Yamato's really good. So Yoshino, I'm gonna take this. It's top tier. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what? I will say, since seeing you and Alistair play Yoshino, I have wanted to play it.
It's so much fun.
You guys all know I hate Azuma with a passion. I hope that shit burns. But Yoshino, I've wanted to try it out, and I kind of wish I didn't skip it when they offered it for like chump change. It was like $30 or something like that. Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was 45. I think I want to say it was something like that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's one that I regret not getting, but because of the Azuma, it led me to think, what I thought about Yoshino. But
it's those torps. It's the torps and the guns. They act differently, especially since they got the dispersion buff in the last update, and they, I think it's better fire chance, if I want to say, which, of course, with this, it's one of those, you fire HE at long range, at close range, definitely AP all the way. Actually, even funnier, even with APCS, you can full pen DDs at close range. Like, it's just, it actually can work, though I'd still argue HE better, depending on the DD. Halland, of course, will just take them all.
AP.
But, yeah, AP. But HE generally, it's a hilariously powerful ambushing ship. It's in a great position. It's got Zao armor, so of course it's balanced by the idea that the Vermont can literally one-shot it pretty much. But you also have enough health to kind of almost deal if the person doesn't get lucky. You kind of got that thing. But it's, of course, rapid reload, precise aim. It's a powerful combo. And if you can hide yourself around an island with those better torpedo angles, in my opinion, Yoshino is an amazing ship. For me, I would even argue borderline competitive depending on the player, but that's like 1 foot in, like 1% in. Overall, it's a good ship, but you have to know how to play it. And if you don't, sayonara, see you back at port. Because of course, it just gives citadels. So I'd love to see you in it though on the Yoshino. That'd be kind of fun. Should do triple Yoshino.
We'll see. We'll see if need to get some more gold on the press account. I've been lacking, but all right, Yu Yang.
Yeah, Yu Yang.
I do have Yu Yang. Where would I put it? It has utility. I'm not that low. I would put it higher than that. Let's see. I would borderline put it competitive, borderline good, and reason for that is it has the utility with one smoke, radar, and then granted it has deep water torps, but I mean it's still a good DD killer. Those guns they're like gearing guns. They're not bad at all.
But good arcs. It's almost Grozovoi at that point.
So honestly, I think it's a solid, competitive. Yeah, I would leave it competitive. That radar just really helps because whatever team gets down to DDs first usually wins, and with radar you're easily able to do that, especially if you got a DD hiding in smoke and say there's a Venezia just waiting.
Show me, come on, show me.
Or a Christfofo Colombo, which I mean that's pretty much it. I'll leave it at competitive.
Okay, I think I'd agree with competitive just because of the utility, but unfortunately the gearing, like its torps hit hard, but they're deep water, so that kind of prevents it from actually knife fighting in the same way. I'd argue more good, but you play it like you know DD better than I do. So
here's if we're talking about knife fighting, a lot of times people will focus too much on trying to get torpedoes onto the other DD, when a lot of times the best action is just to fire the guns, fire that AP at the DD, and call it a day. You're gonna get more damage, and it's gonna be a little more reliable. So that's why when knife fighting, I don't really worry that this thing has no torps to go against other DDs.
I don't know how we forgot this, but we got the Christopher Colombo.
So obviously
needs love, tier. Right? Yeah, no.
I mean, no, top tier. Thing has a crap ton of guns. Even with the nerf, I still think it's, you'll still see tons of them, especially in platoons that are like going after to hunt these DDs down. It's just so damn good.
Oh yeah, no, it's insanely powerful.
Got this fuel. Is it a fuel smoke 3 or 2?
I don't know. Whichever one, it's incredibly strong.
Yeah, so it's perfect for disengaging. I mean, on top of that, I forgot how many guns this thing have?
16 guns, and they're 360-degree turrets.
Yeah, the 360-degree turrets kind of like is the icing on the cake.
Yeah,
it allows you to keep your guns on target in a turn. I mean, what more can we say about the Colombo? The thing is, it's OP.
Yeah, it is OP. It's incredibly strong. Luckily, they nerfed it. I feel like it's in a good place right now. I think other things can get buffed. Of course, as we can see through the list, other things need to get buffed. But it's just powerful. It's incredibly powerful, and the line is pretty solid except for the 7. But it's deadly. And the only problem with it is that if you actually do it with a good Republic or a good Vermont captain, they're gonna like 2-tap you, or at least the Vermont will nearly 2-tap you. The Republic is gonna be maybe 1 to 2 extra salvos after a good rapid reload. This thing doesn't take damage well, but you do have that fuel smoke to be like, oh crap, a Republic, like you can extend out the engagement to be able to do a lot of damage to them. So it's incredibly powerful. I could totally see another round of nerfs. As much as I don't want it, I want other buffs, but that's just my opinion. Anything else to add?
No.
Onto the Z52.
Z52, I would put higher. I would put that in top meta, borderline competitive. Has great guns.
Yep.
AP is like some of the nastiest out there.
Yep.
Has sonar, smoke. It's kind of like a more gun focused daring. Not as maneuverable, but that AP is just nothing to scoff at.
It's nasty.
German AP is just some of the nastiest out there. So I'd literally fire AP and nothing else.
Oh yeah, no, you don't fire AG. You don't.
No. So
let alone add in something that I remember you mentioning when Rulers of the Waves was tier 10, and the torpedoes. Right. The torpedoes they're fast reloading. They're not great, but you can. It's a very versatile DD.
So it has the fastest reload of. Well, I need to go back and look at that because Marceau might have the fastest load, but still, in terms of usability, you could just send them out. I think it has like a 46 or something. 46 second
46,
reload.
48.
I think
It's pretty high up there. I don't know if I would say top, just because it once again can't handle carriers at all.
Well, neither can. Well, all right.
Daring can maneuver,
but no one's gonna handle a good carrier. The thing is that this is a DD killer. Like, if you want to destroy all the DDs, it is the hunter, the apex predator of DDs.
Yep, and you can spot for yourself, so you're better than Venezia a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just don't see top tier. I see competitive. I just. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to see what the comments say where they put Z52. But
the comments are gonna agree with me.
I'm gonna say competitive just because, like, I can definitely see it. I can definitely see what you're saying. The problem is I would rather take almost any other ship at meta, top meta. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me not being the DD main, but for the general gist, I'd rather take Venezia even. Like, it's just there's other ships in here that work better, but I can see where you're coming from, though. If you are in a DD heavy game and you don't have a Venezia on your team, this is your next best, and that's really good. And that's nothing to scoff at. But Daring just can at least dodge carriers kind of well. And Z52, I remember the Malta era pre-nerf. I decided to unlock the Z52 in that era, and that was a very poor mistake.
You got a bad taste.
Right? I got a bad taste. I did. So it still dies from carriers. But maybe it's just not for me. Oh, finally, the last ship, the Zhao.
We probably missed some. Someone's gonna be in the comments. Hey, what about?
I know.
So and so. Like,
Oh man, someone's gonna say a lot. It's okay. It happens every single time. Every single time.
people are like, Richthofen's the best. What are you talking about? I'm like, that's questionable, sir.
I think for the Zhao, I think we can just.
Well, all right. So I'm currently unlocking. I'm still at a Buki.
Yeah. It's a rough one.
It's not that bad. I like it. I like a Buki. It's a kiter. Definitely a kiter. It can definitely use love, but I would honestly say if you're building, I haven't tested the what's it called, legendary mod, so I can't even tell you what
does help. But if
would
we're
say,
just going off at base without any legendary mod,
okay.
without the legendary commander, where would you put it?
Well, again, I haven't played it, but if I'm basing it off the rest of the line, I would say playable.
Playable.
But
I can even argue
you've played
niche. It. Yeah, so I'm biased towards this. This is my first tier 10. I actually will never not say this, is that the Zhao is the most powerful cruiser in this game. It is. If you can stealth, if you get a very low DD game, maybe a horrible carrier on the enemy team, the Zhao becomes the most worst enemy that you'll ever deal with, because by the time that the torps hit you, by the way, it's kiting away and dropping insane amounts of HE on you and starting fires and floods. It's an insanely powerful ship. But let's talk about reality. In that, I think I could argue playable, if not niche, just because of it's just so team comp dependent. And I'm betting your experience in that with the Ibuki is that if you get the wrong team, you don't have any chance. There is nothing you can do. It will kill you. And that's all. There's nothing. It's done. It's a done deal. You can't.
So let me ask you, compared to Ibuki, all right, how accurate is it with precise aim up?
Actually, this was actually pretty darn accurate. I like its accuracy.
So that's one of my favorite things, is especially like in a center cap, I'll creep in there, activate precise aim, start firing AP at some of these DDs, and watch their health get chunked. A lot of the ships, the way I base them too, is how well they can kill DDs. So that's why I kind of like it. Is just I love chunking DDs, even though I play DDs a lot. I love chunking them.
Oh, I can agree with that. And the Zhao, like that entire line, the AP is kind of weird. Actually, you want to be shooting AP over HE at DDs because it's actually a very low pen AP. Mm-hmm. And even with APCS, it doesn't really help you. Actually, just might as well run IFHE at that point. But the Zhao, in my opinion, it needs love only because there are games, and even the Petro, the Goliath, and the Khaba don't deal with this. The Zhao literally has games. You can have the best player in that Zhao, and they will have nothing they can do to the enemy team. It will be completely and utterly shut out. That's the only ship in this game. But once again, if you go into certain other games, the Zhao is broken because of how much firepower it has.
Again, I don't have the Zhao. Slowly grinding it. I will have it eventually, and be able to see what you're talking about. But
it's a hard one to really put. I can see playable, but I just say it needs something. It is usable, so maybe I should just say it's playable. Its fire starting chances hilarious. Its torpedoes are, once again, you've got 4 Shima sets, but you have horrible arcs. That's why I'd say the Yoshino's just straight up better in this case. But it's really hard in this meta, especially with, once again, we have a carrier meta just shutting it down with these 3, the Midway, the Malta, and the Hakuryu, just ripping it apart. And let alone a lot of people have small lens, so you have a better fire starter right there that can hide in smoke where the Zhao can't. So
who has the small lens have a better detection rate than Zhao? With Zhao having legendary mod?
No, I think the Zhao, I want to say it's like the 5th best in the game with the legendary mod. It gets incredibly low. But the problem is it's so big, and its armor is that, once again, that just enough armor situation. I've been one-shot by Vermonts in the Zhao.
I mean, but that's also Vermont. I mean, Vermont's a
But-
monster.
But I have not been one shot in many other cruisers by a Vermont salvo.
Yeah, the other day I got one shot in the club, Colbert. Vermont destroyed me. Another reason I don't like that ship. Anywho,
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my god, that has been a long time, including a few mess ups, but whatever, it's fun. Yeah, we have fun.
yeah, be right.
Yeah,
You'll see the bloopers.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just do this.
You released the bloopers after this video, but as shorts.
Oh no, I don't think I can do that. I've already got enough editing on this, and we're already at 2.5 hours, actually, on our mark. For anyone who doesn't know, that's how much we've been having issues. So either way, thank you, Pig Bay. It's been a blast. Everyone, I will have his link in the description down below, and maybe I'll try to do that tagging thing on the title. Give him some love. He's an awesome creator over there. Streams every Friday. Oh, anything else you want to say on this list, Pig Bay?
No. But please let us know what we forgot, because you never know. We forgot the Christopher Colombo of all things, but
I thought I had everything. I asked people too. I asked multiple groups of people, and we all forgot. How?
That's like forgetting we have like Midway. That's like borderline forgetting about Midway.
Hey, I remembered at least Malta. It just wasn't in order. Thank you, Tier Maker. Thank you.
Touche.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh man, this has been long. Thank you so much for getting on here and doing this with me, Pig Bay. It's been a blast. Everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like more content like this. Trust me, I do not do this often, so hopefully you like this content only occasionally and enjoyed the podcast style. Once again, Pig Bay, thank you for joining, and thank you to the support for the Patreons for everything there. If you want to help support for absolutely no money, once again, hitting that like button absolutely helps. And of course, go give Pig Bay some love. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it. Just links, of course, in the link tree down below for any way you want to join up in Discord, all the fun stuff. I think that's it. Thank you. It's been a long one. Have a good one. Peace. Are you sure we're ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be like last time, just off the cusp.
Yeah, pretty much it will be. Are you gonna do the turnaround thing?
No.
Nah, okay, gotcha. We're just gonna keep it straight. Let's do this. We got a long way to go.
All right, I can.
Oh, God.
If it's a shit show, it's a shit show. Come on, we embrace that.
We embrace the shit show.
Attempting to record.
Attempt number 15.
Action.
We've got then competitive here. These are ships that got a few flaws here and there, but overall, good. They're good. Then we've got the good ships, which fuck. Hold up.
That should go in. That should stay. 100%. Where
at
is
max range across the map.
Wait. Do we not have Christopher Colombo on this list?
Do we not? Oh, son of a... I knew I forgot something.
I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, for this video, we'll just release the whole thing on your channel.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that.
You don't want to do with the download of massive files?
Nope. Don't want that.
He's an awesome creator. Oh no, you're up for the people.
Oh, I'm up here. Okay.
Yeah, you're up here, but you're down here.
Because really, I'm here.
Yeah. God damn it, dude.